Reset Era users are not happy that Black Myth Wukong is setting records when it comes to concurrent players on Steam. Some of them even saying that it is depressing them because there are so many people playing the game. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com. And let's just kind of get into these numbers here for Black Myth Wukong. The game, as I was writing this, had 568,176 players playing. When I wrote this just a couple minutes ago, that was the second most concurrent players behind Counter-Strike 2. The game does have the second most played game based on concurrent player numbers, according to SteamDB, with 2,358,588 players just a day after the game was released. PUBG Battlegrounds still maintains the top spot, of 3,257,248. But Black Myth Wukong does hold the record for single-player game, PUBG Battlegrounds obviously being a multiplayer PvP game. And you can see here on this list, I think the next closest single-player game is Cyberpunk 2077, and then Elden Ring there in 7th and 8th. And then go down to Hogwarts Legacy in 11th, Baldur's Gate 3 in 12th. So clearly it is doing extraordinarily well. And people on ResetEra were not happy about this. There is a thread. I think it's gone through a number of different titles now. It currently says this: Black Myth Wukong has 2.2 million plus concurrent players on Steam. But I think originally it was obviously just kind of talking about how big it was. It was probably below that. What was the number was? But these people are not happy at all about this doing well. This guy right here says, that's unexpected, to be honest, and it's just the start. I was thinking 200 to 250,000. Guess people just don't care nor pay attention to the issues with the devs as usual. Obviously referring to that IGN report that was smearing the developers of game science as sexists based on, I think, things that have been mistranslated. We've seen numerous reports now claiming that things were taken out of context, and IGN used the most uncharitable translations possible. I do think that some of the things that Game Science did were inappropriate. The recruitment posters I found distasteful. I didn't find them professional, and I'm glad that they did indeed get rid of them. So I thought that was a good thing. But some of the other things that IGN tried to rake them over the coals for were just utterly ridiculous. Basically, there was one guy who one of their co-founders, they were claiming was just kind of making it clear that there's a distinction between men and women. And Rebecca Valentine over there at IGN was saying that that was a big problem, was trying to claim that this has somehow makes the entire company sexist. So lots of problems with her reporting. But I do find that some of the things that they were engaging in were distasteful, crude, and rude too, and unprofessional at the end of the day. Nevertheless, let's continue here. Planet Smasher wrote this: depressing that a game made by such horrible devs gets rewarded. Just genuinely sad. He's literally is depressing him that this game is doing so well. It is not catering to his woke ideology. It is not pushing feminism, and the devs just don't act the way that he wants them to act. Laughing Banana says here, gamers really just don't care, huh? Clearly upset, using all capital letters there to express his frustration with gamers who clearly don't align with his ideology. We get Seat Lions writing this: so the best-selling game of 2023 and probably 2024 can both go in the trash. Clearly mad and angry. He's obviously referring to Hogwarts Legacy, which was the best-selling game of 2023, and Black Myth Wukong, which appears to be or might be the best-selling game of 2024. We will see. Boone Tobias wrote, the anti-feminist stuff literally helped. The gaming community has a long way to go still. He then added edit, or it's just non-US players, false alarm. So he's referring to a content creator agreement that Game Science required players to adhere to in exchange for a game code. The agreement specifically banned content creators from discussing politics, violence, nudity, feminist propaganda, fetishization, and other content that instigates negative discourse, among other things such as offensive language, humor, insulting other influencers or players using trigger words such as quarantine or isolation or COVID-19, and discussing content related to China's game industry policies, opinions, news. This was shared by Legal Mindset. It has indeed been confirmed that this was coming out. There was a French content creator, I think his name's Xserve, YouTube channel named Xserve, that initially shared this and reported on it because they indeed got these these guidelines here in exchange for a game code. So we got Elf Gore here saying, realistically, what do you want them to do? Hogwarts Legacy was going to sell well, regardless of how much anybody brought up J.K. Rowling. If the mainstream media bringing up her crappy views can't really stop Harry Potter's popularity, what was IGN going to do? Same for this game. It was going to sell well in China. There was no stopping that. So clearly not happy that the game is selling well and admitting that really has no power over what people can do with their own money. And at the end of the day, that's why a lot of these people are so mad, because they want you to be a slave to them. And if not to them, at least to the ideology that they are also enslaved to. Very disturbed individuals here. And to Bear Hugs wrote this: congrats to the artists who probably gave their all to make this game live up to the hype. F those in charge and China's political influence for inexcusable misogyny, creepiness, and censorship. So obviously taking issue with that report from IGN that has indeed been heavily disputed. This probably is the one that stands out the most to me, other than the fact of the guy saying he was literally getting depressed by watching the player numbers, which, I mean, come on, dude, you should not be getting depressed because of some external factor, especially a video game, dude. Like, find something in your life to relate to. I suggest seeking out Jesus Christ. His burdens are light. So he wants you to come to him and he will comfort you. But this guy right here, Watchtower, probably had the most unhinged post. And it starts off seemingly normal, right? The unfortunate reality is most gamers' knowledge of a video game begins and ends with seeing it plastered on a digital storefront. Most gamers are normies unplugged from the hype cycle, let alone any controversy cycles. They stumble on the game on the storefront of their choice, and they find the posted trailers and some reviews, and that's how they decide whether or not to play. I think that's probably pretty accurate. I think most people probably do indeed find things based on maybe the trailer, based on an ad, based on the storefront, etc. Obviously, there are people that do indeed find things based on influencers, etc. But I'd say this is probably a decent argument to be made here. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Continue saying maybe they run into a commercial on TV or a YouTube ad that perks their interest first. Maybe they hear it offhand from a friend. This has always been true. Nothing's really changed here. And that's actually kind of the frustrating part, that outside of gamers opting for digital media and subscriptions, aka weaker forms of ownership, these kinds of attitudes haven't really changed at all. So again, he's just kind of noting how people find things. It's usually through word of mouth, through advertising, etc. And again, sounds all well and good, right? But then he kind of goes off the cliff here. And he says this: I'd say terminally online gamers have no impact, but that's not really true. The chuds very clearly do. They're the ones that can quickly foment outrage and thus headlines. They're the ones farming views on YouTube and TikTok. They're the ones able to make enough noise to permeate into the mainstream. They're the ones able to inspire unrelated actions outside of gaming itself. Us, I mean, these people, they think they're losing, which is hilarious, which is good, because I think they are. I think there is a shift. I think a lot of it has to do with Elon Musk purchasing X and basically removing the control that a lot of individuals had over Twitter, organizing online harassment campaigns such as the one we saw against Gina Carano, which she is now suing the Walt Disney Company over, or not specifically all the harassment campaign, but them firing her over people harassing her online. So I do think that is one of the major differences here that we're seeing. Why these people are getting pushed back is because people like myself aren't being as censored as we once were, given Elon Musk has purchased X. And since Elon Musk has purchased X, we're seeing other platforms such as YouTube have to respond to that. And I think they've definitely opened up or relaxed a lot of their censorious policies, their immoral censorious policies, unjust censorious policies. So Watchtower goes on and says, us, we don't get to have crap. Not when most gamers have no idea what's going on and don't want to know. And not when most gamers that do know just want to play their fun, escapist games in peace without anyone judging them for bad habits or guilty pleasures or whatever. Until we see a serious attitude change around gaming consumption, we're just not going to see any change to this. Gaming journalists try, YouTubers and other influencers try, even forums like this one try. But damn, can it really feel like just screaming into the void? And that's what we want these people to be doing. We want them to be screaming into the void, because what they are, at the end of the day, what they're doing is they are trying to get you to become a slave to woke ideology. He literally admits this here, until we see a serious attitude change. And that is exactly what he's talking about right there, is getting you to enslave your mind to the various woke ideologies, whether that be transgenderism, whether that be feminism, whether that be embracing the gay agenda, whether that be embracing economic woke ideologies like communism. That is what these people want you to be engaging in. They want you to become enslaved to these ideologies. And we have to say no to this. We have to let these people continue to scream into the void as we tell them, no, we are not going to become slaves like you are. We are going to reject you. But this is what's happening on ResetEra. People absolutely melting down, getting depressed, getting frustrated because they are losing. Their IGN hit pieces are failing. People are not buying into the narratives that they are trying to sell. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, but to always speak the truth.